Welcome, everyone, to an Intentional Marriage podcast. We are Kristen and Chad, your podcast hosts, and we are here to talk all things marriage because we know great marriages don't just happen. You have to be intentional.
You
and
sure do, Kristen.
We are intentionally talking about
what
is our topic today? Maintaining connection.
Our connection. Kristen, we do a lot of classes and social media, and we ask people, what do they want to talk about? What do they need more information on? What do they want help with? Mm-hmm. And a topic that continues to come up is, how do I maintain that connection?
Yes.
That me and my spouse just don't seem to connect. We're in the same
Right.
house. We're at the same ball games of our kids. We go to church together, whatever it is. But they don't feel connected.
Yes. And it's, a lot of the questions, like you said, were like, oh, how do we, stay connected when our kids are little? And then somebody else would say, hey, how do we stay connected now that our kids are out of the house? And somebody else was like, hey, how do we stay connected when our, kids are in sports, and like what you just mentioned? And really, it doesn't matter what season you are in. It's just the bottom line principles stay the same across the board. And that is, connection requires time and intentionality.
Say that again. That's good.
Well, intimacy requires intentionality. And connection in particular requires our time, intentionality, and attention. So, the question becomes, how can we do this at all ages and stages of our marriage? Because really, that's the foundation, is good connection. I mean, one of the foundations of a good marriage is good connection. And so, as I look back on our 30 plus years of marriage, and, we've gone through all kinds of different seasons, and we've been in all different scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Like our schedules have presented us with, different time commitments and time restraints. And so it's kind of left us, experiencing all kinds of different situations. I think back to, yes, when the kids were little, they required our attention. And so by the end of the day, we were so tired, we didn't have time or attention for each other. I think about, too, like when the kids were teenagers, we were chasing them with sports. And, then now empty nesters, our friends kind of fill up our time commitments, and our family having, having them over and whatnot. But bottom line is, good connection requires good time management.
That's good. But it gets hard. So,
Yes.
Kristen, just last week, I ran into a guy I know, younger. He got kids in that sports realm, and I was asking about summer because school's starting back up. How was your summer? Did you go on vacation? Spend time with your wife or kids? And he's like, man, I can't believe school's starting already. He goes, we just finished Little League last week. He goes, we did all that practice. We won our division, so we just kept going. Now we're done, and we're starting school. And you could see his face was almost like,
where did the time go?
Where did the time go? What happened? And so we're going to jump into that today, because sometimes our schedules and our calendars can really cause a disconnect.
Yes.
In our marriage.
Yes. And we have found that to be true, like I said, through all different seasons. And I was thinking about this topic, that time, or our calendar, is kind of like our thoughts, in the sense they can't stay neutral. They're in a vacuum. Like, something is going to automatically fill that space, whether it's our head space, our thoughts, or our calendar. Something is going to fill that time. We're not going to just be left with nothing to do. Something is going to fill that time. And so basically, if our spouse requires, or if our connection requires, time and attention, then we have to take hold of that. We have to rule our calendar, or it's going to ruin our marriage, in a sense, because
That's a good point. You said you have to rule your calendar, or you can ruin your marriage. What do you mean, rule your calendar?
Well, I think of all the different things throughout our 30-some years that have filled our time. Okay, so, and some of it, there's good things. Like, all of this is good things. I wouldn't say none of what we filled our calendars with were bad things. But it comes down to, we can't let the good become the enemy of the best. And the best in this case scenario is making our spouse our priority. And that is what I'm saying requires intentionality. Because looking back, okay, so we've had seasons where maybe we've had different interests. So I'm busy on a Monday night with a ladies group and you're busy on Wednesday night with pickleball. We're going in separate directions. We're not spending time together. If we're not intentional about reconnecting, there becomes that disconnect. I think of other seasons where you were back in school days where coaching filled our time. That was 5 nights a week. And, then you had school board meetings and then staying late for band concerts and whatnot. There was a lot of commitments that came with your job, and a lot of people I know too.
And those aren't bad things.
Exactly. They're not
bad things. Some of them
things.
are part of the job. We have to be there.
Yes.
But it makes me think, Kristen, the busier our schedule gets or the busier the season we're in, the more intentional we have to be to cut out and carve time with our spouse.
Yes.
Because there's times, again, right now in my job, it's such a busy season. There's times like, Kristen, I miss you.
Yes.
And I'm saying that I miss connecting. I miss talking. I miss kayaking. I miss laughing or whatever that is. I miss you in the bed. I just miss connecting. But again, we're together. And so we have to carve out time.
Yes. Well, I think I want to go back to the key word that you just mentioned was the season. So I think the first thing that we need to be aware of is what season we are in at this current point in our life. We are no longer in the season of raising kids. So in all the hustle and bustle and the responsibilities that come with that. But right now, your work is a busy season. And a lot of people, we live in, I think of where we live is a big farming community. And so,
it's harvest
season. And a lot of the farmers, their wives will be like, oh, I never see my husband. Okay, but this is the season that we're in. Mm-hmm. I think of, we also, what else? Like your job is a seasonal job. And so the fall is a busy time. I think of another season we're in, which is duck hunting. Oh. We're just coming up on duck hunting season.
We are waterfowl season. That's a hobby though.
Okay. But my point is that
Are we not supposed to have hobbies?
No, I'm not saying that. Again, none of this is bad, like what we are filling our time with. Most people, we're not just wasting, we're just filling it with different things. But what I'm saying is being intentional about what are the time constraints in the season that you are in. So like right now, and we'll just use your hobby duck hunting for an example. And to kind of set the stage, to give you props, you did not do this a lot when the kids were younger.
So let me share that. Yes. So because when I was teaching and coaching, very, very, very busy.
Yes.
My hobby and I love passion for duck and goose hunting, waterfowl hunting. But I knew we had 3 little kids and eventually 4 little kids. Mm-hmm. I could see it on your face. I'm getting home late as it is. And then I start coaching our kids. Mm-hmm. There was no way I was going to say, I'm going to be gone all day Saturday and Sunday duck hunting. I could just see it. You're like, help.
Yes.
Take these kids before I strangle them.
Yes.
And so there was a period for about 10 years that I never duck hunted.
Yep.
I just, as much as I wanted to, I knew we only had one chance to raise our kids. And I knew and I could see you needed help.
Yes.
You needed me to be a dad. Yes. I'll have time to duck hunt and goose hunt later. Mm-hmm. And I did when the kids got bigger, mm-hmm. I started introducing them to it. And they liked it. They liked going out with dad, spending time. And so it was different. It was hard for me to give that up, but I knew that was what I had to do to put my time into you and the kids.
Yes.
Was it easy? No.
So that was one season of our marriage, but now you're in this season where you are able to go. I'm no longer pulling my hair.
It's waterfowl season?
Well, yes, and I'm gonna, if you let me finish.
Oh.
So here, this is what I'm saying now. Okay, so now this hobby, it's the season for this hobby, and I have already seen, I mean, it was only one weekend last week, I've already seen your attention on texting the guys, and all of a sudden your phone starts blowing up, and now we're going out scouting fields, and like you're going out tonight with Clinton, and you're going out scouting and whatnot. So that's taking time away from me, which I'm not griping, I'm just saying. So now we have to get creative. Now we have to say, okay, I have to shift my mindset to say, all right, this is duck hunting season. He's going to be gone all Saturdays, mostly, Saturday and Sunday mornings, sometimes in the evenings. And in between that is nap time because you get up early in the mornings. So
how's that different than any other day?
Okay, well, all I'm saying is I have to shift my mindset. We both have to shift our mindsets to say, okay, this is the season we're in. Our connection time is not going to look the same as when, the summer season. Mm-hmm. So I think to start is we need to shift our mindset. What season are we in? What are the time constraints? What is it going to look like? So no, we're not going to spend Saturday afternoons together or, even Saturday evenings because just you've been out all morning, you're tired, whatever, might go back out in the evening. So we're going to shift our connection time or date nights to the week. And we normally don't go out on a Wednesday night. Oh, but guess what? During waterfowl season, that's what we're going to have to do. So we have to kind of get creative a little bit in shifting our mindsets.
Creative and spontaneous even. It's, hey, you want to go grab something to eat? You want to go somewhere? You want to go do this? Mm-hmm. Because knowing that the weekend, which is traditionally let's get together,
yes,
and how that looks, you have to be able to be spontaneous. And I can't just, for the next 2.5 months, ignore my wife.
Right.
I can't put her needs and go, no chance. So last week, there was real nice weather here in Southwest Michigan, and it was a Friday afternoon of the long Labor Day weekend, and I said, Kristen, you want to do something, or what do you want to do? And she goes, you know what, I haven't been to Lake Michigan all summer. And I'm like, didn't you just go with the girls last week at a little bridal shower or whatever? She goes, no, we never even went to the beach. And
the weather was too cold.
Well, and I said, let's go.
Yes.
She goes, really? I said, let's go. So we quick threw some
our bathing suits in a bag
and towels and got in the car and off we went. Mm-hmm. So there's times we have to be spontaneous and just go. And I know, knowing coming up, hunting's going to come, I'm not going to have as many chances to be spontaneous.
Yes.
So we did.
Well, and I'm going to...
we did skinny
I'm going to kind of tell on you a little bit with that because I know you well enough to know that you were going to be gone that Saturday. This was Friday.
Sunday.
You were going to be gone. Okay, Sunday. Okay, you were going to be gone. Hey. So, but I'm saying that to kind of tell on you, but also to give you props to say I appreciated that because I know it meant a lot to me because I know you drive all around for your job. And so really driving an hour again to Lake Michigan isn't really what you would enjoy, So I knew I appreciated the effort. And the fact that you said yes to what I wanted to do really spoke a lot, or meant a lot to me. And so I think, yes, I'm just going to recap here a minute. Knowing the season you're in, but also being spontaneous. Well, maybe some people have to be spontaneous. Maybe some people have to be more scheduled, depending on the season. But the second thing I think we need to do is to remember to say yes to our spouse above all else.
Yes.
And no to other things and other commitments and people. And depending on what season we're in. Or it doesn't depend on what season. That's always the principle. Say yes to our spouse as much as we can. And I like that.
Kristen, I want to go to that because that's such a good point. Too often, and I know we were guilty of this, and I see so many married couples guilty of this, they say yes to everything else.
Yes.
Yes to volunteering at school. Yes to serving at church. Yes to this. Yes to their buddies. Yes to the hobbies. Yes to coaching, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, their spouse says, why didn't they do something? No, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm. Right.
No, I don't feel like it. And the spouse gets no. And in their attempts to reach out for you, in their attempts to connect, in their attempts to, I just need some side-by-side time. I need some FaceTime. I need to talk. too often we say no, and we want to reverse that.
Yes.
And what you said was so right. Your spouse needs to be the yes. And so these are reminders still for us. I had to practice that last week because usually my response is, oh, I don't feel like driving. Oh, I've had a long week.
Yep.
Oh, I'm tired. Yes, let's go.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that meant so much to me. And yeah, I was just thinking as you were talking, we could make a little rhyme out of it. Say yes and give your spouse your best.
Can I do a little dance with it?
Yeah, you can do a little dance. Okay,
dance.
do your dance. Yeah. But no, I think that, that communicates the message to your spouse that you are important. You matter to me. Because I've also heard it, love is spelled Time. Spending time with someone shows that you love them.
And I agree with that, Kristen. I want to go a little deeper because it can't, and to me, it's time with your spouse because
yes.
there are a lot of couples, they do a bunch of stuff, but it's always with a group of other couples and people. And then the girls are over here and the guys are over here. And you're not having time to talk about your goals, your
yes.
needs, your whatever that is. You're at ball games for the kids. You're there together, but we're not connecting. There are things we're doing as husband and wife, as mom and dad, but it isn't connecting time.
Right.
So I want to make sure that when we say time, it's really quality time. I'd rather have quality with you once every other week than just sit at a game with you 3 nights a week and never really talk about anything.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point too, that what's required is we have to be able to communicate our needs and feelings, because what does that look like? When you were saying quality time, well, what does that look like to you?
Date night, taking a walk, simple things.
Right. But like, to me, it would be conversation. Like, okay, people are spending time together, like what you said, like, at ball games, but we're not intentionally connecting and conversing and communicating on a deeper level, communicating our needs and feelings and thoughts and sharing our hearts with one another. We're spending time together, but so time is key, but then it's also having that quality communication. And that undergirds that time together. So, we could be together, but not really together.
Right. And then that creates more adversity, animosity, disconnection in marriage, because now we haven't connected. We go to ball games, we're doing certain things, and all of a sudden, 9 o'clock at night, we put the kids to bed, and I start rubbing your shoulders. Like, ooh, maybe we... And you're going, what are you doing? Quit, what? You think
I haven't even talked to you all week?
I'm like, we were just at a ball game. We just went out with friends. We don't even talk. I don't even feel connected to you. Now you... So, and then guys want to connect physically. And you're going, are you crazy? We haven't connected emotionally. Spiritually, mentally. And so... all this stuff then gets in this crazy cycle of marriage, all because we haven't taken time to connect.
Right, and because other things are filling our time. And we're not getting creative with how to connect in our time constraints of what season we're in. And so
So how do we say yes then and no to other things?
Well, I think it depends too. Like, just, we talked in one of our workshops about doing these emotional check-ins. I think checking in with your spouse during the week, even if you're busy and you're on the go, a quick text to say, hey, what do you need? How are you doing? Just, doing an emotional check-in real quick and just saying, hey, one day I might be doing fine and I'm moving and grooving. And then the next day, I'm so tired. I need to get, these kids are driving me crazy. Okay, what can we do within the next 2 days to connect?
So that's a great idea. As simple as, hey, you share that. Oh, I'm just struggling. We haven't connected. Hey, I know we're going to the kids' ball game tonight. Why don't we leave 45 minutes early, an hour, and grab a quick bite? Have a chance to talk before we go to the game.
Exactly.
And so those are little things you can do. But those are all about being intentional.
Right.
And intentionally connect, intentionally say yes, intentionally go, let's go grab a bite and talk.
Right.
You have to put your spouse first.
Well, and I think too, another way to say yes to your spouse is to put down your phone. And that's so hard. I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody else is, or when it's easy to sit there and scroll on Instagram but you know what? 15 minutes of just how was your day? What's the situation with your boss? I know that there's that crazy lady in the office. Whatever happened with her? You know what I mean? Like, it's literally we have to set down our phones if we want to connect, especially during a busy season. It can be done. Like we can connect during busy seasons. It's not like it's an all or nothing thing. We just have to be intentional about it. And again, saying yes to our spouse. You know what? I need you to put down your phone for 15 minutes. I just have to tell you about this situation. Yeah. This phone call I was on, da-da-da-da. So,
and you could actually use your phone and text your husband who's in the other room. Or,
yes.
Hey, can we talk for 15 minutes? Phone's free. Leave it down. I want to talk about blank.
Yes.
Set it up.
Right.
But you're right. It's being intentional. Putting these other things down.
Yes.
Your work, your hobbies, the kids.
Well, and getting creative within that too, I think is key. Because like say, I think of a young couple that we know that they have little kids all in morning preschool. And so, you know what? Maybe their date nights aren't Friday nights, getting a sitter. Maybe now they're going out on breakfast dates. Yeah. They drop the kids off at school, or daycare, or whatnot, and we're going out and grabbing a breakfast.
And that's breakfast a good point. Date. Maybe their time to get sexually intimate is
during the day. Exactly.
It's at lunchtime when the kids are gone, because at night, 9 o'clock, you're exhausted, you're tired. Like, are you crazy?
Yes.
I don't want anybody else touching me tonight.
So that's what I'm saying too. I'm kind of circling back to what I said earlier
You're
about
kind of saying it without actually saying it.
Oh, what do you mean?
Your sexual time can change.
Oh, well, yeah, or just sexual time, connection time, whatever that looks like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, physical, emotional, communicating, sexual connection time. You have to be creative and depending on whatever season you're in. So, yeah, whatever that looks like.
So, Kristen, what do we want to encourage some couples to do out there to really connect? Is take a look at your calendars.
Yes.
What can you adjust? Mm-hmm. Maybe say no to?
Yes.
And if there are things you can't because the season you're in, the commitment, okay, what do you need to schedule in for your spouse?
Yes.
Find that date. Maybe it's once a month, the first Saturday of the month, or maybe it's once a week on a Tuesday night.
Yes.
Whatever it is, put it down and be intentional.
Right.
Block some things out, alter some things, whatever you need to do. Make time for your spouse.
Yes.
So crucial.
Yes. I would have to say, as I know we're kind of landing the plane, wrapping things up, but I would have to say too, yes, the principles are the same across the board, is that we have to rule our calendar before it wrecks our marriage, because everything's going to fill those time slots. If we aren't intentional about spending time connecting with our spouse, something else is going to fill that time, and we're just going to it's a slow fade. We're just going to disconnect over time if we're not intentional about connecting.
Too many people do.
So I say, look at your calendar, whatever season you are in. What are the time constraints? What does the season look like? When is it? Is there a starting period? Is there an end period? Is there something we can look forward to? Also, I know that there have been seasons where even if I just have something to look forward to at the end, that kind of keeps me going through the season of disconnect.
It's a weekend at a hotel, we'll get away.
Exactly.
You take a quick cruise. You do something to look forward to. Oh, okay,
I can get through
3 weeks left.
Yes.
I can get through. Exactly.
So to have something to look forward to, but also, as you're kind of plodding along in that season, if you do find yourself starting to get resentful and frustrated, that's when we need to speak up and say, hey, we have not spent time together. I am missing you, like you said. What can we do? Can we be spontaneous and just do something tomorrow? Or can we schedule something for next week? What can we say yes to for each other, and what needs to be said no to?
Yeah, and Kristen, I really like that you've got to speak up and communicate that. And sometimes some spouses don't do that.
Right.
They get frustrated, irritated, angry. What's the matter? Yes. Nothing. You have to communicate. I need time to talk. Just like if I say, hey, Kristen, I need some physical time. I'm missing you. I'm communicating those needs, those desires. You need to communicate the same with me. I need to talk. I need to connect emotionally. It has to go both ways.
Right.
Or neither one of us are going to feel like we're connecting or we're meeting the needs of our spouse. Because I want to meet your needs. I want to listen to you. I want to be there.
Yeah.
But too I'm my calendar's pulling me away, and I don't want it to do that.
Well, and I think, again, I'm I feel like we've kind of been a little bit of a broken record and just kind of saying the same thing. But, there are some things that we can say no to, whether we think so or not, like, oh, we always go to my mom's for dinner on, every Sunday night. Well, guess what? During this season, maybe we have to say no to those family dinners just for the time being, because we need to take that night, and connect. So what are some things that we can eliminate, even though they're good things? We can't let the good be the enemy of the best. So look at your calendar. What season are you in? What can you say yes to? What can you say no to? How can you shift your mindset to be more creative as to what connection looks like in this season? And ultimately, say yes to your spouse and what they need and want during this season, because we do want to give our spouse the best. The best of us, and not what's left, what's rest of us.
Exactly.
You know what I was trying to say. I hope everybody does too.
I do. Well, Kristen, I think that about wraps up our time for today. We appreciate you guys tuning in and listening, because we know, again, it's so important to set aside that time for your spouse.
No matter what season you are in, yes, we have to be intentional about connecting and spending time together.
Because we know, Kristen,
great marriages don't just happen. You have to be intentional. So.
Thanks for joining, guys. Listen, follow, share, like, whatever you want to do.
All
We're
that good
glad
stuff.
you're here.
Thank you so much.